You, two gays in the basement,
This guy is crazy.
holding each other's peace. Well, that's it. We're live.
We've been live, you idiot. What's up, what's up, what's up? Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Happy Memorial Day, and thank you to all our veterans. Thank you to everybody in any form of service. We appreciate you, and that's why we're able to sit here on this podcast and talk the talk.
Yeah.
Without having to walk the walk. You know
That's
what I'm
a fact.
saying?
That's a fact.
That's the key. Thank you to all the service members. And with that said, Mastodon Podcast episode 201. We are past
201.
the 200 mark. How you feeling to be 200 episodes old?
Well, you know what my favorite activity is?
What's that?
One of my favorite activities.
I was going to say your favorite. I don't know
No,
if we can
one
do
of-
that right now.
One of my favorite activity is proving the haters wrong. And nothing proves people wrong like doing 200 of something they said you couldn't do. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, man.
No, I don't think that's not the experience I had. It feels good. It feels good. Consistency is key, dude. I think that consistency is the key to be successful at anything. Let's see. Justin's fucking doing magic puppets
There we
with
go.
shadow puppets over there to me. Okay, I think this is what he wanted. No, but yeah, consistency is the key to success. And that's it, dude. It's like anything else. If you keep doing it, you're gonna get better. If you keep doing it, if you build it, they will come. And I think I can speak for both of us when I say, I hope they come in us. Like, I hope it comes here. I hope that we succeed based off of our commitment to this.
Goddamn right. I love that. Because it is about the consistency. I mean, yeah, you know, are we blown up yet? No. But are we... I always implore people, if you really want to see what doing something does in terms of the improvement that you see, go watch episode 1 and then come back to this episode.
Not only that, dude, doing 200 of anything is difficult. People can't even give up soda for 200 days.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I think it is, you know, it's not easy. Damn. I think sometimes I have this kind of imposter syndrome, and I feel like anybody can do this sometimes.
Anybody can do it, but it's just people's willingness to do it. And I don't think that we're special or we have anything that like, except for you have incredibly good looks. But I don't think that we maybe have anything that like other people don't have. I think it's just a matter of consistency. And I think that's everything, dude. Like, if you want to play the piano, if you just keep playing it, eventually like you're going to get nice at it. You know, you might not get nice as fast as somebody else, but if you just keep doing it, you're going to get better.
Facts.
And you're going to be nice at it. And then one day you're going to be you're going to have people looking at their cell phones thinking their ringtone's going off. But instead, it's you. Beethoven it up. I hope that's him. Or Mozart, whoever that was.
I think you're right. I think it is Beethoven.
Yeah, the 36 one.
Yeah. I still don't know how they got that dog to play all that.
It was impressive. It was time. 200. That dog probably played that song 1,000 times before he got it right.
That's it, bro. Outliers, 10,000 hours.
Exactly. You know? Isn't it crazy that people teach these dogs in general to do the wildest shit? Like, I feel like every day there's a new video on the internet of a dog doing something else. Yesterday I seen a dog standing upward in a swimming pool.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just walking around. Yeah, it was a golden retriever. Shocker, right? It was just the dog just got tired of just always like doggy paddling, and it found out that if it puts its hind legs on the floor, it can stand erect.
Oh my God. That's so funny. Dude, I saw a chihuahua of some kind with a shirt on, first of all. It was clothed. And it was jumping up, putting his front legs on a table, and there were soda cans lined up across the table. And then there were rubber bands on the table. This thing was picking up the rubber band, putting it behind his claw, and letting go. Like, he would hold it in his mouth, put it on his claw, and let it go and shoot the cans. Knocked all of them down one at a time. Pew, pew. Yo, it's the craziest thing.
Are you kidding me?
Yo, I swear on everything, bro. I swear on everything. I don't know what kind of circus torture they put that dog through to be able to learn that. I'll show it to you. I'll find it right now if you want to entertain the people.
Dude,
and I'll hold it up
you
to the camera.
found a circus damn, I ruined a joke. That was going to be a good one. But you found an assassin Wawa? You found a...
I damn sure did.
Holy smokes. That's impressive.
Yo, I'm telling you, it wasn't impressive. It was terrifying. I said, if they can get this dog to do this, I was like, what can they convince little people to do?
Oh,
You know? It was just like, I just, what can they teach him to do?
Yeah, take this ring, go put it in a fucking mountain.
Yeah, go throw it in a volcano.
Yeah.
You know? But I was thoroughly impressed. So how we get down this rabbit hole of dog tricks?
I don't know what brought us here, but I do feel like I am impressed by people's abilities to teach their dogs to do crazy stuff. When I was in college, I was convinced that I was going to buy a sugar glider and teach it to roll joints. Never came to fruition. But once I seen those hands on that thing, I said, oh, undoubtedly, I could show. You know, probably would have took him a couple thousand before he got it right. But then there was a concern with the saliva as well. A lot of caveats that we didn't take into consideration. Yeah. Originally, ended up having to scrap that one.
There you go. That's actually where swine flu came from.
Yeah.
Came from smoking a J that was rolled by a sugar glider.
Yeah.
That's exactly where it came from. It wasn't a wet mark. It wasn't a wet market. Anyway. But, yeah, so Memorial Day passed. It was good. Nice long weekend. Nice long weekend, which is always good. You know, what else? What else is going on? I know that my weekend was definitely kind of peaked at helping you paint.
That was the peak of your weekend?
Of my weekend. Yeah. So the weekend was okay. It wasn't anything crazy, but that was probably the peak of it.
For people at home, Justin came through this weekend and helped me paint a room. I was very, very impressed with his painting technique.
Thank you.
Like no other technique I've ever seen before, but
that's it, you know.
Quite effective in his implementation.
That's it, man. You know, one coat, one and done.
Yeah, Justin's a one coat guy. He's not sticking around. He needs his furniture back where it's supposed to go.
That's
so
it.
Very impressed with Justin's painting technique. You're right. This weekend was kind of like lackluster in terms of like media and news. I feel like everybody's out of town this weekend and not getting anything done. Nobody talked about Diddy at all this weekend. Not one new accuser being diddled.
True.
Which is interesting, right? It seems like not a week has gone by where there wasn't a new rap beef song or somebody had been touched by Diddy.
True.
And here we are. Week later.
Yeah. See, but you know what I find insane? No matter how much of this crazy information comes out, right? No matter how much of these stories, how many people are coming out, how many people are saying this, saying that, and they're giving us this information, right? The news, the media is delivering all this information. How are they able to deliver this information and pretty much wrap it in fact in this cloak of saying it's factual? And the guy hasn't been charged with anything.
Well, I think that a lot of the times that the news breaks these stories, or I think that the feds already know that. I think that we're behind their investigation.
But I mean, he hasn't even been charged yet, and they're already putting this information everywhere because now potential, if this goes criminal or something like that, there's going to be jury selection and stuff, no? And now everybody's already been exposed to the fact that he did all this. It's done. He did it. This is factual. And then if this goes criminal, then they select jurors. Everybody's already been watching 4 months of him being dragged through all this stuff and his house being raided and his kids being in handcuffs and all that kind of stuff.
If they found people to try OJ, they're definitely going to find the people to try Mr. Sean Combs.
Well, they'll find them, yeah, but they've already been tainted. How are you going to find? And this is, people lie. Everybody knows about the story. If you find somebody that says they don't know about the story at all, that I find that hard to believe.
They could bring me or my mom or your mom up there. I bet you my mom don't know about what's going on with Diddy.
Yeah, true. My mom neither. Case solved. Hit my mom for jury selection.
Yeah. Sequester both our mothers.
Yeah.
Put them in there.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's just, they're just not going to find anybody that, I guess is even familiar with them at all. What do you got?
Just to go back to the
chat?
To go back to the dog conversation, this is pretty funny. Spaz said they had a little Chihuahua running Taco Bell for years back in the early 2000s.
True. That was a Chihuahua-preneur.
Chris says he's seen one where the dog owner goes, "Hey, dog, what we do to the ops?" And the dog runs and grabs a knife off the block in its mouth.
Oh, my God.
That's very impressive.
I go off the cutting board.
Yeah, off
That's
the cutting block. Yeah, but yeah, to go back to the who would try Diddy. There's plenty of people out there that don't know him, nor they're like even remotely concerned. It's all right. Nobody's seen you drop that. I'm not going to bring it up. So they'll find people. But what you're saying is correct, right? It's like we should probably, what the frick is going on? We should probably keep this on the DL until this guy's been charged, so that way we can get 12 of his peers.
Exactly. Like, how many times do we see people all over the news for something, and then they end up dropping the charges, or it never goes to court, or, the case is thrown out? So what did you do now? So now you just damage this person's reputation when this didn't even amount to anything. It didn't become anything. So now we're just allowing people to create this narrative in their mind of whether or not they think the person is guilty based on if they like them or not from the little they know about them.
Yeah. Well, I think that some of the stuff that they might be, what they might end up charging him with is going to be unrelated. Well, not unrelated, but it's not going to be like the stuff that we're finding out. Like the video that dropped of Cassie, we know that he paid her out $30 million a couple months ago.
Yeah.
We just didn't see the proof of these things happening. So some people, maybe even myself, I don't know. I have no idea what my opinion was when this story first dropped about him paying her out. I might have been on his side. I might have been on her side. Who knows? Usually I just take the route that's funnier in my head. It's not based on anything else but how funny I can make the situation. So that being said, there were probably people that were saying to her, "Oh, you're just saying this, that none of this happened. You got paid all this money, blah, blah, blah." Here we are. Video emerges. Maybe some of that stuff was true, So we don't know if that's what he'll be indicted for. Could be other stuff. He could get hit with like trafficking or something like that, similar to the way they hit Kells with, and somebody else that came up recently that got hit with trafficking. Who was that?
Oh, not you're not talking about like the Tate brothers and stuff.
No,
like that, right?
After the Tate brothers, trafficking.
Oh, Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon, he got hit with trafficking.
Yeah. That's a very funny video. How? Oh my God.
There's a video of Andrew and Tristan Tate, the Tate brothers, going over like the some details from the Vince McMahon sex trafficking case, and they were saying all the things that like Vince had bought this girl or done for this girl, and just like it's funny. If you guys go to like Tate brothers trafficking on YouTube, you'll find the clip. It's hysterical.
Yeah, it is very funny, but yeah, I just think that the whole idea of them, just exposing details from reports, exposing accusations and stuff without the burden of any kind of proof is crazy. And I think that the fact that's still allowed now before facts come out is kind of nutty.
I feel like it's always been that way.
It has.
You go through the court of public opinion before you hit before you hit like the judicial system court.
Yeah, but I think now it's just a little different because even an accusation can affect people's livelihood, affect their ability with this cancel kind of shit going on.
This guy's throwing soccer kicks at Cassie in the hotel lobby. Like, I don't want to hear it. He's done no matter what.
No, but I mean, the other stuff is worse than that. The other stuff is it sounds like the way it was portrayed that there's heinous stuff going on. There's even, of course, that's bad enough.
Yeah, I think that this situation is different in the sense that I don't empathize for him as much because it seems like some of this stuff may be true. Yeah. Even if I might have said originally, like, I don't know, who knows if it's true. We should wait for it to, let's wait for the facts to come out, which sounds like a level-headed thing that I probably didn't say. I think that, now with some of the things that are coming out that are leading people to believe that, oh, maybe some of this stuff is true. If you're capable of this, then, you're probably capable of much more. And a lot of the firsthand stories that are coming out about the people from the people who are around him, I think that's another thing. Once one person blows the whistle, it makes it significantly easier for, the old security guard or the old maid to come out and, give her 2 cents. It's like, oh, yeah, I seen Diddy. He used to do X, Y, Z. I can't even think of anything crazier than some of the stuff that he's being accused of already.
Yeah, but it's always weird to me when none of this comes out with criminal charges. Nobody ever calls the police. Everybody waits until there's a paycheck attached to it, which is always weird to me because that's what always gets people to come out people saw how fast he settled with Cassie, and then they all started coming out and was like, I think Diddy called me a piece of shit at one of his parties one time. You know, like I think
but the Cassie shit ended up being true.
It did end up being true, and I agree. So in this case, a lot of the public opinion happened to be correct.
Yeah.
But that's only after the fact we find out that, okay, you guys were right in kind of painting him in such a negative light and stuff like that, right? Yeah. You know, like it just so happens that it's like 50-50. Now, what if that wasn't true? What if a video came out of her yoking him in his holiday socks by the elevator? Then what ends up happening? You know what I mean? Then it's like, it's a new day. You know, can't believe this Ukraine war. It's insane. You know?
19 jets.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that this situation is a unique one in the sense that, like, they said these things and it ended up being true. So it's like, hey, shame on you. Shame on you. So I don't know. You know what's funny is I didn't think we were going to get into Diddy this week, but here we are.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of diddlers,
what do you got?
Did you hear about that American Airlines flight where one of the flight attendants, there was a young girl, not a woman, 9-year-old girl. She was going to use the bathroom, and I guess it was occupied. So one of the a male stewardess, came and said, "Hey, you can come use the one up here. You could use the first class one." He said, "Hold on, let me just check something in the bathroom before you go in there." She goes in there, and this guy taped his phone to the seat, like under the seat, with his flashlight on, like recording. And she's seen it and took a picture of it.
What?
Yeah.
An employee of the plane?
Yeah. One of the flight attendants. Crazy. So she takes a picture of it.
Now, what do you do? Go ahead. Tell me more, because I need to hear. Go ahead.
Oddly enough, I think she still used the bathroom because they ended up finding videos of her on his phone. So, but one of the most crazy parts about this story is that American Airlines' initial strategy to get out of this was to say that it was the girl's fault because she knew that the phone was there and still used the bathroom. That ended up going terrible with the public.
Who said that? American Airlines? That was their statement?
Their legal team. Well, those guys have since been fired because the people took that and they were like, what? And American Airlines was like, no, we didn't say that. That was them. They're fired. Which a lot of times your lawyers will just do whatever they could do to get you out of things, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you feel that way, but they believe that this is the most.
They're hired to do a job. They're hired to get you out of it.
Yeah.
So they're going to do whatever they have to try to get you out of it. That's their job in the game.
Yeah, don't tell them that, your cousin Pito did the crime because they'll rat him out for you.
Yeah, exactly. Damn. So this was an employee of the airline that did this?
Yes.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. And they found other younger girls.
Get out of here. He's been doing this on the plane?
I don't know if he's been doing it on the plane, but they found other things on his phone of other underage individuals. What a sicko, dude.
So what do you do with that dude?
What should be his punishment?
I'm not even going to talk about this on here. I'm not going to talk about it.
We could touch at surface level.
How about we do a pay-per-view? I would pay a lot of money to watch a guy like that on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Being unalived.
You see, that's an easy way out.
But I would purchase that on pay-per-view. I would throw a party for that, get hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. Yeah. These kind of people need to be ended. They need to go away.
It needs to be
There's no rehabilitation. There's no, in my opinion, these people are sick and they can't be here.
Well, he's definitely sick. 100%.
Yeah, they can't be here.
And I don't know.
That's as far as I'm going to go with that.
And I don't know if we could fix him.
There's no fixing them.
In other countries, you just throw them in a river.
River is a little
shallow,
a little nice.
Ocean. Drowning is a terrible way to go, but I think deaf in general. I think we wait this out. We kind of. This guy's got to be. You got to go through years and years and years. I'm talking about POW style. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I hear you. I think
that's a much more appropriate punishment. Yeah. I think that will deter people more than a swift death, a hanging, a graping. Yeah. None of those things.
I think sometimes capital punishment needs to be broadened to other crimes. I think it's typically just utilized for one thing, which is like certain charges, like first-degree murder, things like that. But I think there are other things that we can kind of be like, yeah, I think you should go because of that too. I think I would extend it. There's a few things that I would put on there.
I know you don't know the answer.
That's
to this
one
question.
of them. Certain crimes against women is another one. There's certain things that I think people need to sit in a nice, crematorium. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, what I was going to say is I wonder how many states still have like capital punishment, because I know like we don't have it over here.
Well, New York is stupid, so we don't have it. But there's quite a few states that have it. I'll look it up right now if you want.
It's
Is that a morbid stat to look up?
I'll tell you, no, I don't think so. But yeah, I thought that was an insane. So I've seen it on Philip DeFranco. He was talking about it, and they showed the picture of the phone. It was like the flashlight was on the phone. Like the light was on.
See, but that to me, that guy's so sick. That's such a deep addiction that like sensibility isn't even. It's like a drug addict that's like robbing somebody broad daylight in the middle of Times Square.
Exactly.
Because they have no self-control.
Exactly. Yes.
States that still utilize capital punishment: Oklahoma, Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Indiana, and South Dakota.
Is that 7, 8?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 states.
Man, I feel like that's not enough. I don't know. I don't want to give up my opinion on where I stand on capital punishment just yet.
Damn, you're gonna let me just sit with this one out here?
No. That guy, we could kill him for sure. That guy could die. Not we.
Yeah.
I mean America.
Society.
America, I'm talking about getting behind these fucking colors don't run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they don't. Bro.
And we can't stand for things like this.
Nah, you can't. These people need to go. But next topic.
Next topic. Are you watching anything good on Netflix?
Am I watching anything good on Netflix?
Or you're a Hulu guy? You like Hulu? You watching anything good on Hulu?
Dude, sadly, I'm not watching anything right now.
Tires just came out.
Oh, I tried to watch Tires. That first episode was fucking awful. That shit was absolutely abysmal.
Okay, great. I love that you have this take on it.
That shit was terrible.
I think that people want it to be amazing.
I wanted it to be. I love Shane Gillis. I love Andrew Schultz. These guys are funny as hell. I've seen clips of that show on YouTube for like at least a year now. Mm-hmm. It was on his channel. But goddamn it, that first episode was abysmal. It was absolutely terrible. I tried so hard. I was making myself laugh. I was like, this fucking sucks.
I watched, I think it's only like 6 episodes or 8 episodes, something like half an hour each. I watched every one night, banged them out.
Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry. Why the hell did you do that? Did you lose a bet?
It got better. I will say that it got better, but it was like a bad Office.
Yes.
Dude, it was like my shorty said it. She was like, "Oh, this is like a poorly made Office."
Yo, it seem like they were riffing and shot the whole thing in one afternoon.
It was. Dude,
it seemed like there was no script and they were just going off each other on some ad lib kind of thing, but nobody was good at it.
They said this would be hilarious. Let's do this, and that was the whole show.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this seems like the first idea at the writers' table, and they just went with the first idea on everything.
I will say that there were funny moments though. Because it's not funny. It's just not. All right, so here's what it is. This show was made by Shane Gillis, right? It was made and funded by him. It's like he doesn't have the funding nor the experience of creating like a super successful hit like sitcom or show.
Who's this? Shane Gillis?
Shane Gillis, right?
Okay.
So I think that by Netflix picking this up and them being approved to do a next season, that the next season will probably be very funny because they're going to have his mind and their funding and structure that could enable them into making an amazing show.
I get it, but I think that his show already, Gilly and
Wallow?
No. Gillian and shit. What's the other name? They got a YouTube channel and they have their own sketch comedy that's good. So I'm like, there's no excuse for this. Tires is trash, bro. Look right here when I tell you that first episode was so goddamn bad. It might be the worst show I've ever seen.
It wasn't that bad.
Bro, it might be the worst attempt at a comedy show I've ever seen. I literally watched that thing and I said, we could do a show. I swear to God, I looked at that. I said, that's what Netflix is picking up. I said, we're good. I said, I'm calling Berto. I watched it too late last night. I was literally going to call you and say, we have a career in this business. They picked up the worst show ever written and ran it for a whole season and have renewed it for a second.
I will say one thing. That first episode, that camera's moving around a lot. I said, one of the things I said about it, I was like, I kept finding the camera, like, it was like shifting and like, off. It was like weird. That's why I got the Office vibe, because the Office is shot as if like reality television style.
Yeah. That seems to be like kind of the new approach to TV
but it
shows.
stops at the second episode. It's not like that style. That doesn't follow through the whole season.
Oh, you know what? That was probably the pilot then. That was probably the pilot episode that they shot on their own. Probably the first two they did themselves, and then maybe they picked up the rest and then completed the show with like more, possibly a higher budget or something. I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that I did watch it. It was all right. And man, if I don't want to see Andrew Schultz anymore. Not for a little bit. He's everywhere. He's giving me the fucking Kevin Hart fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, take it easy, dude. You're very funny. I appreciate your humor. I think you're great. People were sucking you off about the roast, but you're everywhere right now, and I don't want to it's going to water him down.
Yeah, I think what's happening is a lot of this was still when he was on his really aggressive climb. He did all this, and now it's kind of all coming out at once. And like each, show or whatever is putting their Andrew Schultz content out now because he's doing so well. So they're like, oh, we have an episode with him too. Oh, we have actually an interview with him. That's what I feel like everybody's trying to capitalize off of his stardom. Mm-hmm. So they're putting him out all now at the peak of his fame. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Listen, that makes sense. They're capitalizing off of the fact that they have content that exists with him, and he's super popular right now. Anything he does goes viral. I just think that because I like him, that I want to see a little less of him.
Yeah.
So that way, when I do see him, it's like, oh man, it's like when you wait a week to see a show. It's like, it's exciting. I waited a week. Here it is. It's like, but when they fucking jam it down your throat like every day, you see him, it's like it takes away from him.
Yeah, I gotcha. I guess you kind of feel about Andrew Schultz the way I feel about that show Tires. I never want to see it ever again.
I like Andrew. You hate that show. And I don't mind seeing him again in 6 months.
Yeah. I think the reason I feel this way is I have such high regard and so much respect, and I'm such a fan of Shane Gillis's comedy. Mm-hmm. He's so funny. His stand-up is hilarious. His bits are funny. He's great on podcasts. He's just funny as hell. He's very funny to me. I don't know why that show is so bad.
Because they don't know how to make shows. They're comedians. They're stand-up comedians. Like 90% of the show is like stand-up comedians.
Yeah. I guess.
He went to the mothership and just like threw 5 darts into the backstage area, and everybody that got hit got to go on the show.
Not real darts.
Figurative. The whole thing is figurative. The story never really happened. I'm just saying that that's the way it seems, because it's like every actor in there is not an actor. They're stand-up comedians. And I'm not even saying they did a poor job, but I'm just saying that they're not actors. That he's not a producer. They're not actors. It's like none of this is like, this is all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. Man, I don't want to sound like a hater because like I said, I really like him. I'm just very let down by this. I even built this up. I've been telling people about it. I'm like, Tires is going to be, that's another reason. I'm like, yo, this show is going to be so good. Like, Shane Gillis is so funny. I've seen clips of this on YouTube. Like, I really hyped this show up. Sat down and turned it on, was like, this shit's awful. Like, I have a lot of calls to make now. I feel like I got a positive test, and he told me over the phone, and now I got to go back and make all those awkward phone calls. That's how I feel.
And it is, what's another thing that's interesting is like Shane Gillis is very much like Shane Gillis in the show. His name is even Shane in the show. Doesn't matter. I don't like that. But I think that like it's difficult when you're like the same character and everything. Like it doesn't really show this like range. And I know he's not an actor and he's not looking for that. But even like his mannerisms are just like his stand up. He's another guy. Like if this becomes incredibly successful.
Doubtful.
If this becomes incredibly successful, and the people who've seen him before, I don't know. It's like it's the same thing. He's like the same person. It's like the same like tonto jokes and shit like that in the show. That's in his stand up. It's kind of like the same thing. It's just you're not even acting like you're a guy in this show. You're yourself in the show. This would be him if he was working a tire shop.
Yeah, that might be the allure, but I do think that this started as a sketch on their show. And then that's probably why his name is Shane. That's probably because it was probably just a thing they were doing on their own.
Which other character in the show is on the sketch show? Is it the manager?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Am I bringing up shit that's irrelevant now?
No. No, I'm just curious if the individual that you're referencing that does the sketch comedy with him on YouTube is also in the show.
Yes. Good question. Shit. I wish I knew.
You know
wish
we're gonna table that. We're gonna table that, and we're gonna get back to it.
We are. We're gonna come back to it.
There's a lot of stuff to talk about.
I'm gonna give Tires one more episode. I'm gonna give it one more shot.
A lot of stuff to talk about. And the show's nearing its end.
Oh my God.
So let's get to the other stuff.
Let's get to it.
Summertime's coming. What a better time to invest than now, right? I know you've been looking into, we do have some financial talks in the Discord. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, join the Discord. Spaz is out there giving a bunch of financial advice. You can, professional financial advice. So is Chris. All stuff you could take to the bank. They provide insurances with their analysis. No, but seriously, I know you were telling me that you were looking into possibly purchasing some options.
I mean, I was just looking into the idea, but I don't know nearly enough to be able to confidently invest in that. Absolutely not. I still can't, I don't fully understand the idea. And again, I'm hesitant to invest in things I don't understand, which is why I don't really buy crypto. People have talked shit to me about it. I have friends that have laughed. Like, what do you mean? You don't need to know about crypto to know that you should invest in it. And I'm like, I don't understand the idea. Because people can only describe the value of crypto in dollars. So I'm like, if the value of it is always based on dollars, it just doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean?
That's like a unit of measurement that they use so that everybody can understand the value. But I do somewhat agree with what you're saying because that same guy who was laughing at you, he probably bought a bunch of NFTs. You know what I'm saying?
NFTs is another thing.
Well, that ended up being not real.
Yes, and people were calling me crazy, saying I'm behind on the 8 ball because I'm not investing in NFTs. And I'm like, I don't understand this. I'm like, you mean to tell me there are people paying tens of thousands of dollars for a GIF? I'm like, I don't get it. I have the same thing on my computer. I have 85 copies of that in funny text message threads.
Yeah, I'll just take a screenshot of that. And then now I have it. Yeah. But that one didn't take off. I know we were talking before the show went off, and I was telling you were talking about NVIDIA, and I was telling you about how I bought NVIDIA in when were we working together? In 2014?
In person?
Yeah. 2015, 2014?
Yeah, I would say 16? Something like that. Yeah.
I don't remember what the price was, but it wasn't expensive. And Justin looked at me. He goes, "Oh my God, you bought that long ago? You still have it?" And I was like, "No."
Tell her what you did with it.
I sold that shit to get tattooed.
I love it. That's what I'm talking about.
At the time in my life, I was only buying stock to get tattooed. I would have stock. Well, I was investing throughout the year or whatever. And then when one of my appointments would come up, I would need some extra cash. I'd be like, I'll just sell a little bit of this,
Yeah.
make up the money. It's basically free.
We've all been there. I did that with Netflix when Netflix was cheap as hell. It dipped after that whole password thing. I think I bought like 12 shares or something, like $100 and something. I forget what the hell it was. Now it's like back up to like 680 or something like that, like 660. And I'm like, whatever. And you know what I did with those shares? When I sold them, I dumped them into a penny stock that plummeted to nothing.
Oh,
So that's what I did there. You guys want to invest like me? I'm telling you, bro. I'm the boss at this, bro.
yeah. Hey, listen, if you want short-term goals, I'm your guy. You know what I'm saying?
If you want long-term failures, hit me up. I got you, bro.
That's so funny. Long-term failures, bro. I still own Hertz.
Damn, not exactly. You remember that when they used to say there's Hertz and there's not exactly.
Oh, I didn't know that was their thing.
Yeah, it's a car rental company, right?
Yeah, they during the pandemic they went under.
Yeah. And so how's it doing now? You crushing?
No, I don't think they exist anymore, dude.
They go out of business.
I'm pretty sure they went bankrupt. I don't even know what ends up happening to the stock I owned. I don't know.
It just goes away.
Yeah, I have no. There's it's still there. I was like, what are they gonna do with all the cars? I was like, think about it. What are they gonna do with other cars? Even if they liquidate, I'll still make money. I had the craziest idea. I was telling my girl, I was like, we got to put more money into Hertz. I was like, think about it. I was like, they got cars all over the world. What are they gonna do with these cars? I said, what are they gonna do with them?
Probably just get like absorbed or something like that by Enterprise car rentals or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what ended up happening to Hertz. I got to check my Charles Schwab or whatever account I bought Hertz under.
Yeah.
But yeah, and dude, I remember them like tanking and me doubling down.
Yeah. Listen, man, there was people doing all kinds of stuff
during the pandemic. These things it was like up and downs. It was ebb and flows.
And I had one boy that made a lot of money. One of my friends.
That's great.
He made a lot of money. So then I was like, oh, it's completely possible. I was like, I just need to dump a lot of money into wild shit.
When you see somebody make money, like I think my brother-in-law made I'm just throwing his number out. This might be wrong, but I think he made like 14 grand or some shit like that in like 30 days. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was nuts. My boy on this one trade, man, he made a lot of money. On this one trade, he made like high six figures, like almost $1 million.
That's incredible.
But then it was, it was just like, I don't know if it was a fluke. It was just a crazy time. It was when people were, making bank on AMC and,
GameStop.
and GameStop and shit like that. And then, just
that alone should tell you that this shit is not real, right? That when the people can manipulate it so what happened to GameStop and AMC?
Yeah, I don't know. I was talking to Spaz about this too when we were on the call because we were talking. I was asking him questions about about options and stuff, and we even talked about that. And he made me kind of realize that they had to freeze that and stop it because I was like, that's crazy. I was like, this is just like nonsense. Where
you were so upset when they froze it. I remember
because I still don't fully understand how that's possible. Like how it's supposed to be fair for anyone to buy and trade, but then when somebody starts doing it and hurting the real winners up top. How can they just stop it?
They got to slow it down, dude, or people start jumping out of buildings.
Yeah, well, listen, man, if you jump out of a building because of that, then, I don't know.
These are people, imagine, like, you hear these stories about, like, Enron and these Ponzi schemes. These people have all their money and then all their family's money and then their jobs, retirement funds. They have all of every money that's associated with them and their future is like in these stocks. And when the shit goes under, you lost it all.
Yeah, if
that don't make you fucking take a bath with the toaster.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see it because now your entire future, everything you've built your whole life for you to now finally enjoy your life is gone overnight.
Yeah. You ever seen the movie Fun with Dick and Jane?
Yes, I did.
Jim Carrey and that blonde woman, she's a very good actress. Me not remembering her name is not indicative of her skills as an actress. I don't remember anybody's name. But it was a movie about Jim Carrey's character worked for this company that he ended up getting promoted, getting a bunch of money or being offered a bunch of money. started making a bunch of like upgrades to his house, and his wife quit her job. Company ended up going under. All of it, like his retirement fund, everything was all in their stock. And when the company took a dump, he lost everything. And then the movie's about them doing funny stuff to, make ends meet. But like that stuff is real.
It definitely is real. And there's been a lot of people that have experienced that, and it's terrible, but I mean, to bring it back to where we started from, at the time, I mean, I still, again, this is why I don't claim to understand everything about the stock market. I have no idea. I'm still in
neither do I.
My novice point of pretty much the infancy of my understanding of this and trying to just not do stupid shit anymore. I'm trying to buy things that make me money more than waste money on shit that doesn't. Yeah. I'm just trying to do that a little bit more. That's what rich people do. They invest and then they buy shit with what's left over. Poor people buy shit and invest with what's left over. Yeah. I'm trying to not do that. I saw a guy say that and I was like, that makes a lot of goddamn sense.
No, it does. I mean, listen, I don't know anything. My experience, I lost, I think like $1,000 trying to fucking buy options. I can know how to click the buttons. I know how to get to it, but I don't have the knowledge to make the right decisions.
Yeah, like when you don't know how to really look and pick apart a balance sheet and evaluate a company for investment. More so it's just we're looking at how the stock prices do, like surface level stuff. How much are they doing? How many locations are there? Okay, there's a lot of Starbucks. Chances are Starbucks not going out of business. I'll buy a Starbucks stock. Meanwhile,
even more surface level. What's the 52-week high? What's the 52-week low? Where are we today? All right. You're under the 52-week high. That means we still got room to go up. Buy. That's the way, that's how surface level you probably know more than me. It's but that's why the people who do know about it, like, the people who do this for a living, that's probably why they demand such a high salary.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just the way that I'm starting to understand is now. This is my novice progression toward trying to understand this thing. I feel like there's like 3 types of investors that I've noticed that I can kind of recognize. There's the ones that look at the charts and do it every day and like try to buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. Like in the moment, those day traders that sit in front of their computer. Then there's guys that try to invest, for like what you're saying, like 52-week high, 52-week low, and just hang on to it. And then there's people that are trying to go long-term retirement type of shit. So I'm trying to figure out how to do kind of the second one, but a little better. I'm trying to invest in stuff that's important, but also understanding other things. Like I have stock in Starbucks, but then I started looking into Starbucks and they have way more debt than revenue. Like they have more debt than they have cash and money and stuff like that. And which isn't, like the guys I watch breaking down the companies, they explain that like, yeah, that's good. It's probably going to be a good investment just because, Starbucks really isn't going anywhere. It's decent, but then they don't recommend it for these reasons. Like they're holding so much debt. They do, and then they start breaking down the balance sheet and actually doing an evaluation on the company. And then it makes more sense where I'm like, okay, this is why these guys make such solid investments. Because they're not looking at a chart. They're looking at the actual company, the service they provide, and the potential they have to continue to grow. I don't know.
Those guys are the ones that are seeing it before. Like when they're talking about it already, like Starbucks, we missed the boat.
Yeah.
A lot of these we missed the boat on.
He says these things. He said once it's common knowledge like this is baked in already for 2 years. They're like, this is already baked in. This is done. Like, this is finished. Like, now it's like, look on to the next one, but learn from this.
Yeah.
That's
the trick, getting onto them early.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't have thought Home Depot was as good of a stock as people say it is. It's very good. It pays like a high dividend. They have like a lot of good things about them. I didn't know their online sales are as high as they are. But anyway, again, I don't know anything. I'm just trying to figure this thing out. I'm trying to figure out how to break this cycle of, trading my time for money and that kind of thing.
Yeah, what up, Saif? Yeah, you know what it is? It's I'll invest in the. You know what? I'm not even gonna touch this one. Saif says shouldn't be investing in those evil companies. I think he was referring to your Starbucks, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there's some that, because trust me, man, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of companies that I probably shouldn't invest in based on my morals and my principles and stuff, but I can't help it. When there's certain things where the good companies don't win that often. And if you're looking for long-term projections, I'm even looking into pharmaceutical companies, and I hate the idea of the way that they medicate our country and medicate the world. I hate it. But, you know, you look at companies like the biggest insulin producers in the world and stuff, and they are making money hand over fist.
Which is crazy that we have the system that we do. It's funny. 'Cause I was just reading an article today.
It's evil. And you're right, Saif. You're right.
I was just reading an article today about cancer medication that in the United States will cost somebody $70,000 for a year of treatment, where in India, the same medication is $177 because they're not allowed to patent things like that over there. Yeah. So as Americans living in, you know, the first world, we have to pay $70,000 for this medication that we're not paying, that insurance is paying, which that whole thing is, I think, is a scam. Like that whole system,
it's all a scam.
Is like, you know, that they're playing with funny money. Like none of that's real. I don't think.
You know how crazy it is? I have a friend that was picking up a prescription, and I actually saw this on Joe Rogan's podcast. And then for me to experience this in real life with a friend explaining this story to me, it blew my mind. So on there, he had an insurance, like a guy that used to work in insurance. And the guy was explaining the idea. He said, you need to ask the pharmacy how much a medication is before you tell them you have insurance. He's like, sometimes it's cheaper than with the insurance. Yo, the thing happened to a friend of mine, I'd say probably maybe 2 months ago. She goes to pick up the prescription. The prescription with insurance is $25 copay. With no insurance, $5 out of pocket. What? $5 out of pocket. And once you tell them you have insurance, they have to run your insurance. You can't like pull back your insurance and like take it back now. They have to run it through your insurance. It's like the biggest scam, dude.
How do you even get away with that? Because every pharmacy has all your information unless you've never been there before.
Yeah, if you haven't been there.
Crazy.
Yeah, is that
why? I don't even get.
Dude, it's because they negotiate these rates. Like these insurance companies negotiate these rates with these pharmaceutical companies and stuff like that. And then that's the rate that's agreed upon. You know, like that's it. That's just what they pay. You
that's
know?
Crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's so crazy that we have all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, you can't have it. You can't afford it.
Yep. And I did also, because I had taken a class a long time ago about this kind of thing. And it was like public health and you know, just the idea of access and why are things so expensive. And my professor, who was in the industry, says that he says the reason why it's so expensive in America is because America actually incurs the majority of the cost for developing new medications. So what it is we are developing the medicine. So he says that's why we charge so much, because we have to, you know, recoup the cost. But I'm like, why doesn't the rest of the world pay that? You know, and then he said, I think there's something ethically involved in that. Like you could never command that money from certain populations and stuff like that. So I don't know. You know, but that's what he said. He said the reason that I don't know how true this is. This is what a professor told me, and he's in the industry, and he said it was factual. Like it was like a test question and stuff about why we pay so much for pharmaceuticals in this country. And the reason was we invest the money to develop it, apparently, in America. That's what he said.
And Spaz says, but the insurance company covers it. And he also said, I saw a video where they're explaining that too. The guy ran his own pharmacy and explained that even when someone's I guess insurance pays the higher copay, it actually makes more profit than from the pharmacy too. There's like a emoji covering most of his things.
Pull it up a little bit, and you should be able to see it. Like pull it up and hold it. No, like not the emoji, the words, like the thread. Like, see, like this is what I do. Look,
doesn't let me do that.
See, I'll just pull it up like that so I could see it. iPhone gang.
There you go. You got one.
iPhone gang. So I got one leg up on the Android.
He says, so for example, if it was $5 at cost, the pharmacy would make $2, but at $25 with a copay, the insurance company makes $24.
See, yeah. So it's actually this whole scheme behind the scenes. And the crazy thing is that the price is you're not told the price up front for a lot of this stuff, like medical services and things. It's not like you can shop around. They don't tell you. Like imagine going in and negotiating the cost of an open heart surgery. You're not going to do that. What are you going to do? Shop around for an open heart surgery? No, you need the surgery.
Bro, most of the time, you don't even know if the doctor you're going to is like nice at what you're getting. Like, you don't even know if he's the one that's like really good at this. You just get who you get.
Yeah. You just get it. I don't know, man. It's just a convoluted system that I think is broken in so many ways that we just need to kind of just start over. Like, we just need to be building. You know how there's a bridge, right? You know, there's bridges like from
I'm
in
aware.
cities,
Yeah, there's
right.
bridges
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, they get people across things.
Yeah, sometimes boats hit them, things like that. So with that, when they're replacing that bridge, they just build one like next to it as that one's still working.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to do that with our insurance system and our healthcare in this country. Like, we need to simultaneously be building an entirely new system. And then one day you're like, okay, guys, in January of 2030,
We're turning on production.
we are
Going live.
switching over and we're going live to this new system, and that other shit, just let that scaffolding rot away and fall.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I agree with that. And I also want to say that I don't have the answers. I don't know what the correct answer is. I don't know what's appropriate, what shouldn't be appropriate. I do believe that people who work in the healthcare industry should be compensated appropriately, which will demand for insurance companies to pay a good amount of money to these places in order for them to pay their workers. But at the same time, I think that there shouldn't be Americans suffering because they can't afford medication when the markup is so high on it.
Yeah, if that's the case, fine. Okay, it costs that much for here. Let's say that's a convenience upcharge. But if I can get the medication in another country more affordably, let me go get it and bring it here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Don't restrict me from bringing it back here if you're not going to sell it to me at a rate I can afford.
Yeah, for example,
that's my issue.
If you live in Texas, you can't go to Mexico to get TRT and bring it back in because they don't like that.
Exactly.
If you live in New York, you can't go to Canada to get insulin because they don't like that. They're not making money on that.
Yeah.
You can't bring anything in that you're not paying taxes on.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. Can you read the last chat message, because I got the hardcover in it?
The last chat from Saif?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Saif says, have you guys seen what's happening in Rafah? I'm interested to see if this stuff reaches mainstream American media. I know it's all over socials, though. Let me get this straight. Let me know, Saif, if I'm accurate in this. Was there some kind of a refugee camp that was bombed by Israel in Rafah? Right, and I think that there was upwards of 50 civilians that were accidentally killed. Am I correct?
Jesus.
Am I correct in that, Saif? Let me know. And the only reason that I know about this is not mainstream media, because I haven't seen it. It's because I watched the Pat Bet David podcast, and I saw that that Vinny was on there talking about it, who he's of Assyrian descent, so he's always got his finger on the pulse. He wants to know what's going on, out that way. Same as Patrick Bet David, but
And you don't intake much mainstream media, do you? I know I don't.
I don't. No, I typically don't. Out the next 2 days, almost 200 civilian casualties. Yikes.
That's terrible.
That's awful. Yeah, I mean, and am I accurate in saying that I think they admit to making a mistake with the target of that attack? Am I correct?
Wow.
Am I correct in? I want to say that I think that was what I saw. If I'm correct, again, this is just.
Yep, same excuse as always.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
So I mean, it's terrible, man. I think war is just bad. War is just ugly, no matter what, man. War is bad. War is bad. You see the worst come out in people, and
nobody wins.
Yeah,
nobody wins. The people of these
wins.
countries don't win.
Yeah, nobody wins.
None of the people in these countries would win, and none of them would decide to be at war if they had the option. Wars are fought or started and by governments, and fought by the people.
Yeah,
and at the end, there are no winners.
There are no winners, man. There's no winners, and it's just bad. And especially when you talk about civilian casualties, you're talking about children, you're talking about women. It's very difficult for me, even as a man. I always feel much worse when there's women and children involved.
Yeah.
Like, I am a man, and I'm like, okay, if anybody's going to go, take the men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's...
But even the idea of it
terrible.
in modern times, it's like crazy that we're still fighting over lines in the sand, right? Like, what are we still talking about? It's like, listen...
Yeah, I think it's just... I think the world gets involved in certain conflicts that are too deep for us to understand. There's issues, there's trauma, there's disagreements, there are generations of beef that go into certain conflicts in the world. And a lot of these beefs were started, in principle and in like kind of values and morals and then it just goes on and it just gets uglier over time.
But how do we advance as a society if we still like allow these barbaric, intrusive thoughts to control us? And I'm not talking about, obviously I'm speaking about the rest of the world, or outside of the States, because I don't know if we're necessarily, whatever, everywhere. How do we allow these past presidents to still creep up? Like, we have to be more logical and understand, look at things objectively and say, man, that happened so long ago.
Yeah, but there's it's difficult though, because when heinous acts are committed, emotions get involved. And I'm not talking, and you have to there's a degree of where you have to defend yourself. You have to. There's certain things that happen. Like, there were some awful things that occurred in October. Like, nobody can say that those things didn't happen, but I also am not familiar enough with the history to know what happened prior to that led up to that. I know there are heinous acts that occur, but I cannot help but ask the question, what led up to that heinous act, right?
Well, stuff like that makes religious wars seem more reasonable. It's like, well, at least, they're fighting over religion. Like, they believe in this. Like, this is, instilled in them. But when you have wars that aren't fought over religion, that are more fought over, like what you said, things have happened in the past and lines in the sand. It's like, those are the ones that I'm like, man, this is senseless.
Yeah. But, I think it's there's a lot of vengeance involved in these conflicts. There's a lot of, generations of damage and stuff that's happened. Like, I mean,
only for the people who aren't fighting.
What's that?
I said only for the people who aren't fighting.
I don't know what that means.
That this vengeance that these people are seeking, I don't believe that that's the public that's seeking vengeance. I don't believe that the public, that the person who's going out there and fighting, the husbands that are going out to fight, or the wives, whatever, the people who are going out to fight, those aren't the people seeking vengeance.
Sometimes it is. Like, that's my point, is like, let's say if your grandfather was killed in a conflict and then your father was killed in a conflict, you're a little kid. Like, wait till I get old enough. Wait till I get old enough. Like, I watched my mother suffer without my dad, like that kind of stuff. And then it's bred into generations. And then it's like, kind of this, it's like growing up in gang life in anywhere, streets of Chicago or whatever. It's very difficult to tell somebody not to. It's easy to say it, but it's difficult to understand when, okay, yeah, we don't want you committing these acts of violence, but these guys are the guys that have been, ending the life of people close to you your whole life.
Yeah.
Like, so what do you do? It's baked into you, and it's like you can't help it. It's like on sight when you see these people.
Yeah, it brings me back to and I know that you're playing devil's advocate, but it brings me back to my previous statement where I said how do we advance as a society when we're still being controlled by these barbaric thoughts, thoughts though what you did to my family, the generations and generations ago, or whatever the case may be. It's like, while I may not agree with what happened that long ago, I do agree that we need to move on and not. I don't want to undermine some of the things that's happened in the past. Yeah. But
because I don't know enough. Because I know that. Yeah, I know that there's a lengthy history, and I'm like, people don't beef this long unless there's something. There's something I don't understand in this conflict. You know what I mean? It's like
the religious ones I can understand. I don't agree with them, but at least it's like, well, you got a higher power telling you what to do.
And then there's also part of this group. There was an attempt to exterminate them years ago.
I think we're talking about two different wars.
It don't matter. It's just in general. Now you're just like, okay, I don't want to this ain't never going to happen to us again.
That one, I'm not wondering why it's going on.
No, but just in general.
Yeah.
Right? In general, like it's, when a certain people experience something and they've been through it and they have family that's been through it, they're like, nah, we'll never be weak again, bro. This ain't gonna happen. Like, we're gonna be the crazies around, and if you mess with us, like, where you throw a rock over here, we're gonna bulldoze your city.
Yeah. We were here first.
Yeah, it's of course that gets said on the way down. Like, and always remember, so I don't know. I just think it's bad when civilians get caught up in the middle. So I don't know. Long story to land the plane safe. I don't really know, man. It's a conflict that I can't I really don't have too much of an opinion on in one direction or the other. I just don't want innocent people being involved.
And we get the mainstream media here in the States. I feel like they pick up these articles like while they're juicy in the beginning. When you look at what's going on in Ukraine, they got a lot more eyes on it during the beginning. Now, some of that could be overshadowed by, Diddy, which wouldn't have happened, 6 months ago or so when this was at its peak. And when you look at the other religious war that's kind of going on and, on the other side, same thing, doesn't get as much coverage as it did originally.
Yeah. I mean, it's a quick news cycle, 24-hour news cycle. So it's just whatever is the most appealing headline wise is what's going to be the story of the day.
Yeah.
That's kind of just what it is. It's unfortunate, but that's, news is now entertainment. It's no longer informative. It's they're trying to just get you to look.
Doesn't even have to be accurate anymore.
Nope. They prefer it not be.
Yeah, that's how we prefer it. And with that being said,
is that the end of the show?
That's the end of the show.
Damn. Masters of the Nun podcast, episode 201, man. These episodes
deep at the end of this one.
Yeah, it did get a little deep at the end, man. But, sometimes things have to be discussed. I mean, when there's an elephant in the room, sometimes you got to kind of throw it some peanuts.
Oh, that's funny because that's not what I was going to do to it.
All right, so that's what you got, Masters of the podcast, Episode 201. Thank you guys so much, everybody participating in the chat, man. Shout out to Saeed, shout out to Spaz, shout out to Chris, shout out to everybody. If you're watching live, shout out to everybody that's going to watch post live when we're off the air and when you can catch us in the archive. And if you can't watch the video version, you can't listen to us when we're live, make sure you check us out on all audio podcast platforms. And that's what we got. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that thumbs up on your way out and hit that notification bell so that you never miss an episode or a live session. But if you don't find us on your favorite audio podcast listening platform, Bert about to let you know.
Join the Discord. Come hang out with us. A lot of funny conversations, a lot of good conversations, very informative conversations. Lots of financial advice being thrown around, not financial advice. And harass us until we place the podcast on your obscure podcast listening platform. Thank you for everybody who tuned in today.
Thank you to everybody. And I do want to ask one favor, guys, please. If you guys got a moment, share this episode with one person that you know. Share the podcast channel. Share it with somebody, just one person. Give us some suggestions. Let us know what you guys think. We appreciate you. Is there another chat we need to get to?
Spaz says you would have made 1,000% profit on the NVIDIA call this week, FYI. Yeah, I fucked up.
Damn. Well.
But if it went up that much, that means it's got to come down. We should put a put in tonight. We put a put in, not tonight, but when the market opens. And then as it comes down a little bit, cha-ching, maybe not 1,000%. Yeah, that has to be the way it works, right? If it went up so much today, it's got to go down a little bit tomorrow.
I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. That's not the kind of trading I'm trying to do. I'm trying to look into...
You're not trying to make money. I just realized it.
No.
You're not trying to hit big.
No.
Onesie, twosies. It's not you make it big. You think Buffett made it big, onesie, twosies? No.
Bro, you know who you are? You're the guy that gets caught. You get tricked by the roulette table showing all the last numbers that came out. And you're like, oh, my God, it hit 5 black in a row. It's got to be red.
It's statistics.
Got to go in 100.
It's statistics. That's the way...
But that's not statistics. It's still 1 out of 36. It doesn't matter. However, it's always one roll with the same amount of outcomes. The outcomes never change.
It's 50%. You said red or black.
Yes, red or black.
And you have to agree that if it hit 5 blacks in a row, statistically, the odds are in your favor that it will hit red next.
But that's not true because the odds never change. There's no change in the odds. It
starts over. It starts over every time. It does. It does, right? It's like the odds of the next one being this color are 50%. And then the next time it starts over, it's still 50% odds. It's still 50% odds.
Yeah, so you have the same odds if you bet black than if you do red.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if there's 11 black in a row on that board and you go black, it's the same bet as if you bet red. It's the same exact probability. It does not change. That's why it's tricky because they put that up there and they catch you. You see?
But how hard is it to hit for black to continuously, if it truly is 50%, right?
Yeah.
That means that there should be half blacks and half reds.
True,
right?
But
not in that order, not black, red, black, red, black, red. So when you get 3 blacks in a row, statistically, the odds have to be higher that you're going to get a red next.
Dude, by you saying statistically, you're going against the idea what statistics are.
No.
That it's a 50% chance that you're going to go. So it doesn't matter which one you pick. There's never a more likely chance that one is going to hit more than the other.
Of course there is.
No, there is not. That's what statistics are.
So there's a 50% chance that on the next roll, it's going to be a red or a black, right?
Yes.
But then isn't there like an overall statistic?
Like
that
a
covers the
universal
game?
probability?
No, that covers the game, that it takes into account the amount of blacks hit in a row?
No, it'll never change. That's like saying that if you flip a coin and you hit 7 tails in a row, that it's a higher probability that the next one's going to be heads. It's
You
not
know what?
true.
I think that you're right.
I am right.
It's 50%. We both agree that it's 50% every time.
Correct.
Right?
And for that reason, it never changes. No matter what the previous roll was or it does not matter. It doesn't matter. Just like the numbers don't matter. Like if you were to bet 1 and because it was every other number hit, it's been every number except 1 for the last hour, and you bet it's got to be 1. It does not increase your odds.
But what about if you hit 1 before, right? And then it hits 1 again. There's a statistic that says like only 3% of the times does it go 1 to 1. Like, does it hit the same number 2 times in a row?
Yeah, that might be less probable, but statistically, it's not. It doesn't increase your odds.
But there's historical data, so you could do statistics on how often that would happen, on how often you get 7 blacks in a row, on how often you get the same number twice. There is statistics,
but the odds never change. That's my point. The odds do not change.
The odds may not change. That's difficult for me to say. The odds don't change. But
the odds don't change. Like it does not change.
Yeah, I have to sit on this one before I continue to argue.
Yeah, because I would love for that to be true, but it just isn't. And it's tricky, and that's why that game is so tricky, and because that's one of my favorite games to play. I love roulette. What do we say? Are people saying something in the chat?
So it says, Berto Math. How could you go wrong? Berto Math, if you gamble on roulette, you can win 100,000%, but you could lose 100%. Easy math.
Trademark is slap it on a shirt, Berto Math.
No.
That's what I
what I'm saying has some validity.
I mean, listen, maybe
it's the same thing with cards.
Well, it depends now. What are we talking about with cards? Right.
I'm talking about generating it, like a device that generates random numbers or random colors, and that device spitting out, that spits out 100 numbers, and then out of the 100 numbers it spat out, only 2 times did it spit the same number back to back.
Okay, true.
Right, which means that there's a 2% chance of that happening, because out of 100 times, it happened twice.
But that's if everything remains exactly the same every time, which it isn't. It's just the probability is
everything is the same. It's a new game every time
you do it. It's still 1 out of 100. The odds are still 1 out of 100 that you're going to get whatever the hell that is. It's 1 out of 100.
There's a way,
unless you know where the cards are, or there's another stipulation introduced. You're not going to be able to. It's not going to work.
So you're telling me that if you see 7 blacks in a row, you're not likely to bet on red because you believe that maybe red is coming up?
Of course
because
I
it's
am.
so unlikely to have that many blacks in a row, because statistically, it's more likely that you're going to hit red based on the historical data. The data says that you only get 8. The machine will select, not the machine, but the odds of you landing on 8 blacks in a row are 2%.
Why would it be any more likely that it would be red? If it was black 6 times in a row, why won't it be black again? If it was already
it's
black,
historical data.
It was already black 6 times. Why is red even a thing?
It's based off historical data.
Historically, then it's going to be black again. If it's been black 6 times, why wouldn't it be black again?
No, this is not what I'm saying.
It's already been black 6 times.
If it spins 100 times and it hits black 50 times, right? But out of those 50 times, only 2 times did it go more than 5 blacks in a row. There's data for that. There's a percentage of times that happens within 100 rolls.
I mean, I'm just telling you that like there's no change in it. That's the whole.
Here we go. The tides are turning. The
that's the
chat
whole.
is coming with me.
But that's the whole psychology of why this game works. The odds do not change.
It's mathematics.
The odds don't change,
bro.
Though.
Think about it. You're agreeing with me.
The odds don't change. It's 1 out of. Let's say there's 100. There's 50 red squares and 50 black squares, and they're every other one. As a roulette wheel is. It's 36, right? 36, I think it is.
I'm not much of a gambler.
Yeah,
I'm more of a mathematician.
So the odds do not change. They don't change. It's the same every time.
There's another word that we're missing here, and I don't know what it is. But there's another word where the difference is like, yes, I will give you that the odds are 50-50, right?
Yes.
But there's also the odds of that happening based on
probability, I think, is what we're talking about.
Based on statistical data, right? That's so rare that we get this many black selections in a row that it's more likely that it will not be black because it never happens.
But why are you assuming that it's never that never happens? Maybe that always happens. Well, that's my point.
So the truth is that I don't play enough roulette to know that hitting 7 blacks in a row is something that happens often. Theoretically, it shouldn't happen often because it goes against the logic of the game. I mean, because it's half black, it's half red.
The game is literally designed this way on purpose so that there's this psychological reasoning in your mind to say that there is a higher chance if I get this. I'm telling you, this is what it is.
No, but this is applicable to anything. It's not just roulette. You could take this into anything else in life.
Yeah, you're talking about probability, like P.
I don't know the equation, but yeah.
Yeah, it's probability.
It's the same thing as if there was only 3 different color cars and you're in the line at the Taco Bell and there's 3 white cars in a row. Like, what are the odds that the next car is going to be white?
Yes, I know. Spaz is saying Berto's not entirely wrong. I know that because I know what you're referring to because I remember it. I took it in school.
I'm illustrating it incorrectly.
I took it in college. No, but I do know what you're saying, that it's, the probability based on, the science of saying, like, if you have this many rolls, even if you flip a coin 10 times in a row. I did these word problems before, so I know what you're referring to. But that is such a high level of, like, Einstein type of shit that is only a theory, right? It's a theory. It's not provable enough.
It's quantifiable.
But I mean, that doesn't apply to a roulette game in a way that you can choose a winner.
No, there's still the odds that that's going to be black next.
Yes.
It still could happen.
So that's my point. So it's still 50-50.
It could still be black.
That means nothing.
But the likelihood is low.
But that's just for a conversation. It's not applicable to actually making an informed decision where you're going to pick the right thing.
Well, I don't know if it's applicable.
This is just like splitting hairs type of good banter over a drink. You can talk about this. You know what I'm saying? It's not applicable to a roulette game. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't apply there because the odds are still going to be the same. It's still 50-50. The odds of what you're going to get do not change. Now, if you want to talk about of how many times you can get, I guess
coin flip is different because there's not as many variables.
Sure there are. It's still one or the other. Right? Of course there's still variables. Who's flipping? How's he flipping? What's the weather conditions? What's the floor that it's hitting? Like, there's the same amount of variables as how fast a person spins a wheel.
I'm referring to the fact that there's only 2 options as opposed to roulette where there's the color plus the numbers. And then there's
the numbers are irrelevant. See, that's the data they'll stick in the word problem that you should cross out because we're not talking about numbers, right? We're just talking about the amount of red squares versus black squares.
The numbers are also relevant because if I see that the last one that got hit was a 16, right? Mm-hmm. I'm no expert.
No, you sound like you definitely are putting a lot of thought into this, which I like.
But this is just no. What I'm saying is that this is math. This is something that it's nothing to do with the game. It's involved in the game, but the truth is that this is applicable to anything that kind of holds this similar form factor.
But would it help you in the game? Because that's where this all came from, is if you can make an informed decision on a roulette gamble based on that board, that's going to increase your chances of winning.
Would it help me in the game?
Because how come there's not a roulette mathematician? How come there's not somebody that's just crushing at roulette every time they sit down? It's like counting cards in like 21 or something like that.
Because counting cards, I believe, is a more controlled like environment, because based on there's always going to be this amount of cards and this in the
Exactly.
deck, so on and so
because
forth.
the probability changes based on cards being removed now. Now there's cards on here, so now it's shrinking the deck. So now I can make more of an informed decision. I know this card's here, this card's here, this one's here, this one's here. So now I know which options are no longer available. In roulette, the options never change. Numbers never get pulled, colors never get removed.
Yeah, but the likelihood of you hitting 2 numbers in a row are very low. It has to be taken into consideration into the strategy.
But it's not any different. It's the conditions
But
are
it
the
happens.
same.
It happens less often.
Says who? You would have to look that up.
But now we're arguing semantics.
But
You're
there's
saying,
probably no correlation between what you're saying.
so you're saying that there's no data that says that it's. I mean, it's this 32 numbers plus a 00.
Something like that. Yeah, I think it's 32, 36. I forget. I think it's 36.
Dude, what's the likelihood that you hit 2 of those numbers in a row?
1 out of 36. It's like the same. It doesn't change. Think about
And
it.
how often does that happen?
I don't
That's what
know.
I'm saying. Exactly.
There would have to be some kind of data pulled, but either way, that's, causation, what is it? What the hell is the phrase I'm looking for? Look, like, let's say this, like there's an example I can use. There's more shark attacks in the summer, right? Like there's more shark attacks in the summer, right? More shark attacks in the summertime.
Okay.
All right. People eat more ice cream in the summer. Is it because they taste like ice cream? Or is it because there's more people swimming because it's hot out? Like the coincidence does not mean the cause. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like that.
Everybody,
There's no way to predict that.
every
There's
stripper ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwiches doesn't mean that peanut butter and jelly sandwiches make you strippers.
Exactly.
I get exactly what you're saying. I just don't agree with it. I think that it is there is data. I don't have it. I don't know if anybody has it, but all data is important. And yes, you could use it to influence your decisions on like picking numbers, because if you took 100 years of the roulette table, spinning, you know what I'm saying? It's difficult to say that data's, it shouldn't be used in like future decisions.
I mean, I guess you could use it, but
it isn't. It's not a guarantee. That's not what I'm saying.
if it does work, it's by chance. It's just by chance that it happened. There's no way to predict what's going to be there.
That's how all these things are. They're all by chance. It's
Yeah.
all like it's all like,
but like
this is so like this is just probably not going to happen again. I think the odds are better if I go this way, and I
Yeah.
get it.
But
They're
my
not-
point being, all of them being black in a row and then you bet red you do not have a higher chance of getting red than black.
Why not?
Because there's still just as many chances to hit just as many of
But
the
you're
others. They're
only
even.
But you're only focused on the fact that your odds are 50-50 every time you go. You're not going off of the fact that that's only happens, 1% of the time.
But they're completely separate concepts. They're completely separate concepts. Every time you start, it's a new start. Mm-hmm. So they're not related to each other in a sense of one meaning the other is going to happen. It would just be a coincidence. Every single time you get 2 in a row, it's a coincidence. There's no causation for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, nothing's making that happen. But there is a likelihood, right? Just like the likelihood of you being hit by the same person in traffic is low 2 days in a row.
I mean, I don't know about that analogy. I can't really follow that one.
The analogy's terrible.
Just like, the ball spinning around that thing, and let's say you got 10 red, 10 black,
How could you possibly ignore the fact that it hit black 10 times in a row? And that probably does not happen often.
Because it does not signify success in a casino. There is no correlation Absolutely zero.
Of course there is. If there's statistics that say that roulette gets black 10 times in a row, 3% of the time, that means that 97% of the time, when you hit 10 blacks in a row, the next one's going to be red.
Yeah, but I just find it very highly unlikely that something like that is
But that doesn't mean
occurring.
that it's not true.
It doesn't change the outcome. That's my point. It's never going to change the outcome. Never.
Because it could still be black again.
Yes.
Which is not what I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm saying that I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore, but I think what I'm saying, and then that's it. We're done.
Yeah, then we're done.
But I think what I'm saying is that historical data still has value and can still be taken into consideration and have an influence on how you bet. But I don't know.
Saeed's going back and forth. He said, Berto's right. No, wait. Justin's right. Yeah, I'll read it real
I
quick.
don't know. Let's see.
Let's see. Go back up to Spaz all the way up.
He says, when Spaz says, you're both right. The odds don't change. Each time you spin, there's a 50% chance it'll be black. Nothing stopped a coin from landing on tails each time you flip it, though. No, Berto is right. The probabilities do change when it's continuous wheel spinning, but technically the odds are 50-50. Wait, no, Justin's right. Berto's technically right. If you spun an infinite amount of times, it would converge to 50-50 always. Yes, that is correct. I do agree with that. That if you spun it for the rest of the time, then inevitably it would be 50-50. That you would make up for the reds. Of those 10 in a row blacks that you got, you would make up for that over time with 2 reds in a row. Inevitably, overall, the odds are 50-50 in the game. That I do agree with. When you guys forgot about the green, by the way, though, yes, there is another one, the green one.
That's it.
That's
Show's
it.
over.
Yep.
Episode 201. Saeed, thank you guys so much for your participation in this. That was a fun little debate right there. I'm gonna
really
actually
good.
look this up.
I'm
gonna look into this now because this is intriguing to me because I find myself being like, I thought that in the casino, and I was like, nope, red, and then I was wrong, and then I was like, yo, it's got to hit black again. It hit red once, black, nope, wrong. Okay, I'm going black and red, green. Fuck.
It definitely is 50-50. It definitely is 50-50, but it's 50-50. I don't know. That's it.
That's it. All right, guys. Massing Up Podcast, episode 201. We appreciate all you guys, more than you guys could ever imagine. Thank you so much. Make sure that you guys comment down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode, and hit the thumbs up on your way out. Thank you so much. Berto, what you got? Say peace to the people.
That's it. Peace out.
That's it, Massing Up.
Gamble responsibly.
That's it. Love you guys.
Oye, te hablo desde la prisión.